Hi, I'm LeAnne Dolce. I'm the founder of Natural Roots Magazine.
Hi, I'm Jameelah Mullen.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Jabari Carter, Mr. International.
Welcome to the Chop Up.
If you can't prevent rape, you enjoy it. I mean, and this is from the police. This is the head.
Because they
Right, but this is the head of their police
they rock it
force.
out and they cock out.
Right, but to say that to a woman, how do you demoralize and dehumanize me to that point where I say, I just need to get over myself and let any man have his way with me, and I should be okay with it because the police can't do their job.
No, because he's a rapist. That's what it is.
Well,
he's like, listen, I rock out, my cock out. It's more like
But the thing that really disturbs me about this is it's not only grown women, these are young girls. In fact, I watched a documentary just the other day on Netflix, and I can't remember the name of it right now. But there is a whole spiritual tribe that dedicates young girls to become sex slaves and prostitutes. It's like it's a deity and everything. And so, yeah. And these girls are as young as 7 years old, and they grow up, being raped and things like that. And of course, a lot of them suffer from psychosis. A lot of them die from AIDS and things like that because they're not even cared about, So it disturbs me when I hear the leader not even protect these girls. It just shows you the value of women. Not only there, but just all over. I think that we kind of live in a culture of where women are just not valued, especially, little girls, 10-year-olds. Wow.
Yeah, you're right. There is a culture where you devalue women. And I think that's a recent thing in history because if you look at indigenous cultures around the world, women are held in high esteem. Women are looked at as the oracles and the guides and, the creators of civilization. So, and I was just talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying for men to really run amok, they have to trick women into thinking they're powerless. You have to completely bamboozle the women to get away with all kind of craziness, And I think we just went through that period of time in history where not only were women reduced or their perception of power reduced, but also, as darker people, we went through the whole chattel slavery thing. And I think those two dynamics happen around the same time. That's what it seems like. Yeah, you take the most powerful and reduce them and make them think that they are the least powerful and strip them of all their rights and ability to be responsible. So it's interesting you would say that. It's interesting you would really say that. That's crazy.
I guess to me it just really hurts my heart that you've got the head of the police force. You are the person who you have sworn to protect and to serve. And now you're serving the criminals and you're not protecting the ones who need it. So you have totally demoralized and dehumanized every woman, female, child, and say, okay, get over yourself. Go ahead and let this man have his way with you. And you don't have any voice because I cannot protect you. And how does that as a man make you feel to know that you can't even protect your sister, your wife, your daughter from all this stuff that's happening in the street, That has to be a hard hit. But let's say I'm the child's father who gets raped. You can't, as the father of somebody or the husband or the brother, you don't even want to send your girl, your women out into the street because you don't know if they're going to come back home. It kind of demoralizes on both sides, It's just really sad. It's depressing.
That's a good point.
And especially, like I said, these are girls. These are not even...
Yeah, these aren't even grown women.
A lot of times.
Girls still finding their way,
But if you look throughout a lot of the history of some of these countries, women are second-class citizens. Yeah. The boy children are the ones they want. It's looked negatively upon your family if you have too many girls and not enough boys. Especially in India where they're very strict about rules and class and I still find it hard to believe that they have such a blatant disregard for the safety of women that they can't stop rape.
That's funny you say about the lineages, because, you know, wise people who create high civilizations understand genetic science. And in genetic science, there's a thing called mitochondria DNA, and it's only carried by the woman. So in high indigenous civilizations, they understand that your lineage isn't even passed down unless you have some girls. I could have 5 boys and no girls, and I'm not handing down a thing. Let me have some girls. Then my mitochondria DNA gets traveled. That's why in even like Jewish culture, you're considered Jewish if your mother's Jewish.
Right.
And they got that from us because they understand genetic science. It doesn't matter what your father is. If your mama's Jewish, you're Jewish. Yeah. That's really, really, really intriguing. Wow. There's a whole lot going on in the world. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
Speaking of world, so I was reading on, so, you know, I'm all over the internet. So I'm reading and they're talking about worm-infested weaves in Kenya.
How does a worm get in the weave?
Well, apparently the original company that is selling this weave hair is getting it off of corpses. Because imagine when you're dead, your hair still grows.
Your hair still grows.
Your hair still grows. So imagine that they're snatching hair off of dead bodies, and apparently not cleaning it very well because there's worms in the weave, and it started boring into the women. So there's a shop, and she's doing major business in Kenya, and it's boring into their heads. So you know that's what worms do. And so the worms are digging into their heads, and these women had these uncontrollable, unexplainable headaches that wouldn't go away. She went to the doctor a couple of times. They didn't know what the hell was wrong with her. You're doing all these tests. And she finally went to a doctor who checked her scalp. And that's when they found the worms in her head from the weave.
So they're getting, let me get this straight. Rewind, they're finding corpses. Are they digging these corpses out the ground? Are they going to funeral homes? Are they asking people permission?
If they're worms in them, they have to be digging them up.
Yeah, they're already decomposed bodies. And they're cutting the hair off of decomposed bodies and slapping them on Kenyan women's heads. But
they're selling it. They're selling it in bulk. So you're gonna go and she's you know, I go and I own a salon and I'm buying this from what I think is a reputable distributor. Probably has a really good price, and you're wondering why your price is so low. Right, that's what I tell people all the time. All that glitters is not gold if it seems too good to be true.
Human hair.
Right, if it seems too good to be true, it usually is. So if you're getting cut rate deals on human hair that you know is not supposed to be that cheap for that quote unquote quality, something's wrong with it. And apparently there was a lot wrong with it. They said women had to totally like shave their heads.
Oh, you best believe.
Okay, so now you got to shave all your hair off. When spend all that money on a nice weave, man, you shave your head, and you got to take some antibiotics and hope these worms come up out your system.
Oh, that is so disgusting.
Crazy. But you know what though? Might be a blessing in disguise because I know Kenya very well. I know my family, and they can be a little. They kind of go with the flow as far as how the colonial powers have dictated things to be.
Yeah.
You know, they sent a lot of missionaries to Kenya. So, you know, these women that are slapping on these weaves and having to cut it off, you might go natural now. You know, happily natural. And they can call you. Yeah.
But that, I mean,
but that is crazy. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. And it's everywhere.
That's very unscrupulous.
Yeah, it totally is. But I mean, in most indigenous, in India, everywhere you have people selling weaves, skin bleach, all of this kind of stuff. So, you know, I think the demand for that stuff is high. And, you know, of course, we've all been taught that a certain standard of beauty is better. So, you know, I don't knock the women for wanting to get weaves, but, you know.
I guess my only concern with it is why are you getting it? You know what I mean? If you're getting it because you feel, oh, my hair is, this is what I always hear. I can't, you know, you can do that natural hair thing. That looks so good on you. You know, you have the head for it. I just can't do it. My hair is unruly and it's blah, blah, blah. You know, your hair's like anything else. You have to train it. If you're not used to combing your hair, yeah, it's gonna be hard for you to comb your hair. But my hair was nappy as all get out when I was a little kid. My grandmother used to press my hair to death. Burns in your ear and all that. But I would never go back to that. I mean, I was probably the biggest proponent of the fried, dyed, laid to the side whole thing. I've never had a weave in my life, but I've had extensions. I've had pressed hair curls, jerry curls, all that. I mean, if it wasn't bone straight, I wasn't paying for it. I was the biggest offender. But when I went natural and realizing that, wow, I don't really have to be whatever, right, I don't have to participate in you tearing me down by saying I'm not beautiful enough because I don't have a 28-inch Indian Remy Yaki, blah, 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 in my hair. You know,
my story is just like yours. You know, I had every perm, whatever known to man. I wore weaves like the rest of them. And it, you know, I always tell the stories. My mother has that Indian in her family hair, right? So I really had a complex about not having, you know, that type of hair. But same thing, you know, went natural, and I think a little differently. But I do understand, just because of what I went through, that it's a big thing in society. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have been socially conditioned for 400 years to think that that is better. And before any of these viewers come for me, look, don't come for me.
Don't come for her.
I'm not knocking weaves or anything like that. Look, you might see me with one day, you know what I'm saying, or wigs or whatever. But I do think that collectively, overall, a lot of us do that for a specific reason, and it's not just about choice. I mean, most people say it's about choice, whatever. And like I said, look, I got a wig crib at the house. I do it too sometimes, but I think overall, we're doing it because that is something that we have been conditioned to do. And I mean, the story in Kenya tells you that, you know, that's what it is. It's like, we're going to get that straight here at any cost.
I mean, think about it. I mean, I know men who will only date a woman with long, pretty, flowing hair. I mean, when I used to wear extensions and all of that, long hair, I've always had more luck with men when mine was either very long or very short like this. So I trust me, I don't knock anybody, and I tell people, natural hair is for everybody, but not at every time.
Right.
You know, I mean, when I've had a purple mohawk. When I go into corporate America, they don't understand the purple mohawk, so I will put on a wig so that I make them feel more comfortable. It has nothing to do with me doing it out of I hate my hair, blah, blah, blah. I do it because I need to make sure that I can still pay my bills and that things are done. So I understand that piece. Though my only concern is people who do it because they think their hair is not as good as the next person. That's my only concern, and I still don't knock them. I want to educate them so that they can learn to actually love and accept themselves for who they are. Because it takes a strong woman to rock a darn near bald-headed every day, all day. You know, it takes a strong woman to rock locks because that's still not a socially acceptable, universally acceptable hairstyle. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of women, they kind of lose their power in that whole struggle of, you know, am I beautiful, am I not? I need to have the long hair so all the men will like me, you know, because that's what the Real Housewives of Pick a State or City, that's what I see in TV, in the magazines. That's what's really pushed to me is if I don't look like a Kardashian, I'm not beautiful.
You know what, and I wonder as women, if we tell ourselves that, or if men are really telling us that. And here's why I say that. Like, I remember the very first time I never forget when I wore my own hair. I was trying to tighten my weave and I got frustrated with it, so I just took it out. And I wore an afro out. And I remember my girlfriends was like, you about to go out with your hair? You about to do that? I'm like, yep, I'm about to do that. I got so much attention that night from men. And, you know, my whole years of being natural, whether I had long locks, afros, whatever, most of my hair compliments come from men. Black men and white men. So I wonder if, this is just my experience, because I hear a lot of women say that men don't like it, men don't like it. But I wonder if that's something that we're telling ourselves and then therefore projecting it.
You
or
make a good point, because men like you if you got dirty sweatpants, a big t-shirt, and a scarf on your head, and you run into the store to get some eggs. You will get hit on.
But does he like you, or is he just an opportunist?
No.
There's the difference.
Well, what it is, see, I'm a man full of
Right.
testosterone, and I know there are certain times when women are most appealing, like when they just get out the shower, they got their makeup on, and it's just raw, just straight, natural. It kind of appeals to our DNA in a way. It just, it's just that down home, like a good home country meal. That's what it feels like.
wow.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. So I see women. I saw this beautiful Kenyan sister in Walmart today, and I started a conversation with her and told her that she was really dark. She's like dark as a table. I told her I really loved her complexion, and she's so exotic and so beautiful, and she had this just horrible weave coming all the way down to here, but she has the most beautiful features. I could just look at her and say, you know what? If she just snatched that thing off her head, oh God, I want to marry her right now. I probably wouldn't marry her. In my mind, I just knew that she would look so much better if she just went natural and felt comfortable. And I think a lot of men go through that. I just feel so. So you make a good point. Is it the men or is it the women?
Well, but I think it's a mixture of both. But I think predominantly it's women, because women, we don't. What a lot of men don't get is when women dress for the club, they don't dress for men.
They dress.
Most times they dress for other women
competition.
because competition, and you don't want the other woman talking bad about you. So
Yeah.
you're going to check and double check. Now the women still want the men to look, but we know if a woman is complimenting us, the men are going to look. You know what I mean? So there's a little bit of both. I do believe it is predominantly women, but I know men who will not date a woman with natural hair. You've got, what's his name? What's that little rapper? Lil Wayne.
Yeah, Method
One
Man said something.
right. He
But
said something,
so it doesn't make sense.
but he also don't like dark-skinned women. And his daughter's dark-skinned, he's dark-skinned.
Yeah.
So some of it never makes sense, but in his mind it makes sense. I can't knock him for his choice and his preference. Method Man said the same thing.
Yeah.
I can't knock him for his choice and his preference. That is his personal belief. All I can say is, I know I'm beautiful. I know this is beautiful. That doesn't make us any less or any more beautiful. Well, I would say more beautiful because we don't have to put all the extra and excess on. But I see so many women that have so much makeup and so much weave on their hair that I've seen them without, and they look 5 million times better. But when they look in the mirror, they don't see.
They don't see that.
Right.
They don't see that. They don't see that. Or they may see it and they're not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
There's a fear of power sometimes. Maybe even a fear of beauty.
And like I said, I just think that this society tells us that this is what we need. I can go without makeup, but I love wearing it. I love the way my lips look painted. So sometimes it isn't about a need. Sometimes it does make you feel
Certainly.
Girl, it makes you feel
girly,
sexy. It makes you feel like a woman.
Yeah. So, I do see where, like, even with the hair, like I said, most of the time y'all see me with my real hair, but every now and then I might throw on my wig, and it makes me feel good and different. And you get what I'm saying?
Trust me, I have wigs. I have wigs too.
Yeah. But so I think sometimes it does make a woman feel a little bit more confident to say, okay, if I have on my Chinese bang, I'm going to feel better about myself. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the issue that I have, or what makes me sad, is when somebody is dependent. Yeah, and I used to be that chick. Like I said, I wanted that Indian in my family here, like all the other women on the side. So I depended on it to make me feel attractive. I used to wear the little kinky curl,
Right. But like you said, we've been conditioned to believe that.
Absolutely.
How many of us, when we were little kids, and tell the truth out there, put on little stockings and act like you had long hair when you were a little kid, because all we saw was the Brady Bunch. There really weren't black TV shows. So all you saw were little white girls with long, flowy hair. So of course, that's what you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, Marsha Brady is so beautiful, I wish I had long hair, whatever. You know, so we're conditioned to that. I completely agree with that. But right, it doesn't mean that I don't have wigs upstairs that sometimes I want to wear, but to me it's a hat.
Right.
It's not, right, it is not, you know, it's an accessory to the look that I'm trying to put on
It's
today.
like a necklace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's another accessory. Trust me, I have been places and I have people that have been mortified when I pull that wig off and put it in my purse because my head gets hot or I just don't want to wear it anymore.
Yeah.
And people I've had women like dang near pass out and I just thought it was funny because I was like, whoo, my head is hot.
Right.
And I'll put it in my
Yeah, but that's
purse.
their issue and not
That's
yours.
right,
You know what
that's
I'm
their
saying?
issue.
It's a reflection of how they're feeling.